What is up, YouTube? I am back here. We are going to be doing our week one NFL predictions. This is something we're going to be doing every week for the remainder of the season. If it's something you guys like and it does well, I'll probably bring in a couple people from my community every week and we will do these predictions together. I'm really excited about it. So let's get freaking started. NFL Week 1. Here we go. We are here with Joel and Jack to do our NFL Week 1 predictions. Let's get started. All right. So, guys, the first game we got obviously is the Bengals Browns. Jack, what do you got on that? What do you
So
think?
on this game, I got the Bengals winning on just a simple game. I mean, the Browns. I mean, they have good players like Cooper, Chubb, and Deshaun Watson, but their defense. That I saw like a lot of things. They didn't look that too good. So I think the Bengals run out with this game and take a W.
Okay. Joel, what do you got?
I think the Bengals are going to win it. I just think they're overall a better team. They have a better O line, better D line, better offense, and their offense looks more consistent than the Browns. So I got Bengals.
Yes, as somebody who likes the Bengals, I'm gonna go Bengals too. The one concern for me is, everybody knows this. I've been talking to people the last week who have said it as well. For some reason, no matter how bad the Browns are every year, they always give the Bengals a bit of trouble, and they really up their game against them. So again, I do think when you look at it, the Bengals have the better roster. Defense is better. Their offense is better, but the Browns tend to step it up against them. So we'll see how that goes. I think a guy to watch out for would have to be T. Higgins in this game. I think he's really trying to get that contract. I was reading something earlier today that he wants to stay in Cincy long term, and you know right now they're not too big on extending him. So I think he's really going to be battling for the contract this year. So I'm watching out for T. Higgins. Um,
Yep.
Second game on that list, I think we could all probably agree on the same outcome here. This is probably one of the easier ones to call. We got Texans and Ravens. Jack, your opinion on that?
Uh, yeah, I got the Ravens winning. They just got new wide receiver OBJ, and in practice they've been looking really good. I think they got a way better defense, way better offense, way better D line and O line, just like Joel said with the Bengals. So I got the Baltimore by a lot.
Okay, Joel, what do you got on this?
Same here. I got Baltimore by a lot. I just think that Lamar has a lot to prove, saying that he's not a running back. And then I think OBJ also has a lot to prove as, probably their number one receiver now. And yeah, I
Yeah,
think
for
that they're going to come out and win.
Odell just coming back into the league after missing last season, he really, this is, I think, a big year for him. Uh, the one thing I heard, and I don't know if anything has changed on it yet, but Mark Andrews is questionable. That could be one thing that has a big impact on that game. But I don't know if it has a big enough impact that I could say the Ravens still won't win that game. I just think for the Texans this year, they'll be better than they were last year. They're gonna be a decent team that loses a lot. Like they'll play good, and I feel like they're not gonna be horrendous, but they're not gonna be a big scoring team. They'll probably be like a 4 or 5 team win max, if that. But I don't see them being on the level they were last year. They did pick up some guys that should help the team. Dalton Schultz, Devin Singletary. So I think they will be a bit better this year. The next game we got the Buccaneers Vikings. Jack, what do you got on that?
So on the Buccaneers Vikings, I feel like the Buccaneers are gonna be like not too bad, but definitely worse than last year. They don't. I mean, like they got Baker Mayfield, and he did look good last year, like with the Rams, but like I still don't think he's gonna be good. And the Vikings, they got Justin Jefferson, number one fantasy pick. So I'm gonna go with the Vikings on this one.
Okay, Joel, what do you got?
I'm going to go with the Vikings too, just because I think Baker Mayfield, besides Mike Evans and maybe Leonard Fournette, has nobody else on that team. And I think that their line is way worse. Their O line is way worse. So I feel like Baker's going to get pressured a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if we see at least 3 interceptions. So I got the Vikings winning this one.
I could agree on that. I think, look, I think Baker could be decent this year. Obviously, they also have a guy like Chris Godwin in there too. Um, but yeah, overall, you just look at the Vikings, and I'm looking at this. I don't even think the Vikings are going to be as good as they were last year. Losing Adam Thielen, losing Dalvin Cook, I just don't see them being the team they were last year. But I still think they'll be good. But I don't see that Bucks team competing with them. I think it could it's hard to tell. Obviously the NFL, the one thing that's weird is every week one there's always that one game that throws everything off with predictions. And who knows? It could be this game. The Vikings are known for kind of disappointing when you think they're gonna do good. Next game, I think this is really a coin toss. Anything could happen in this game. Panthers, Falcons. Who do you got, Jack?
So Panthers Falcons. I'm gonna go with the Falcons here. They just got a new running back, and I really think that the Falcons are gonna step it up, get a little bit better than last year. And the Carolina Panthers, they just got a new quarterback. They're trying to figure everything out, and Bryce Young has to figure out a whole playbook, and he has to lead his team as a rookie. Like they don't have that. I mean, their defense is not that good, and I feel like the Atlanta defense is gonna go and get this game and take away, and they're gonna be way better than their defense. So I'm gonna go with the Falcons.
Okay, Joel, what do you got?
Yeah, I'd have to say the same thing. I feel like the Falcons just offensively are way better. And I feel like he said, you have a rookie quarterback, has to learn a whole new playbook, has to learn his new receivers. They lost a lot of people too. So, and their defense really isn't that great. The Falcons this year signed pretty good defenders, so I think that they're looking defensively pretty nice. So I'm going to give it to the Falcons.
I think this game is such a big question mark because obviously you got Desmond Ritter throwing. And the one thing you guys were talking about, obviously Carolina with the new rookie quarterback, and a couple of my buddies, we were all talking about it. I think Carolina is gonna start the year off really slow, and towards like the middle of the year they'll really start picking it up. But it's very very hard for a debuting quarterback to come in and look dominant. And I definitely think, and it's not saying much because they're not an amazing team themselves. I think overall you look at it and the Falcons are by far the better team with the guys they have there. The next game, two teams that are gonna, in my opinion, be terrible this year. Um, we got the Cardinals and Commanders. Jack, what do you got?
So, with the Cardinals and the Commanders, I'll be honest. I'm gonna go with the Commanders by a landslide. I don't know why, but I feel like the Cardinals don't have like anyone. Their quarterback Cole McCoy or Josh Dobbs. I still don't know. They don't have a good defense. They don't have good offense. They don't even have that much good wide receivers. And the Washington, they got Terry McLaurin, and I feel like they're gonna step it up this year, but they're gonna slow down towards the end. So I'm gonna go with the Commanders on this one.
Okay, Joel, what do you got for that one?
I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say the Commanders strictly because the Cardinals lost their star receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, and now it's just like,
Mm.
who else are you going to throw to? Hollywood Brown is not catching every single ball you throw his way. And yeah, I just don't think I didn't even know those were the two quarterbacks that were playing for the
Yeah, I think
Cardinals.
that
So
game might be I think
yeah,
that game could be a mess tomorrow, to be
and then
totally
the
honest.
Yeah.
Commanders have Jahan Dotson, Brian Robinson. They got a bunch of good players on offense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm going with the Commanders as well. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals, and I saw people talking about it. I don't know how you guys feel. I could see the Cardinals getting held under 10. I really
yeah,
just don't think that team is going to be good
Yeah.
this year. And that pains me to say is guy who took James Conner in fantasy football this year. That could really, really be bad for me.
I mean,
But
to be honest, I feel like they're gonna run a lot with their passing game being like full on shambles. So I mean, I have him in fantasy too. I hope he does good, and they'll run it a lot because of their passing game is just not good.
yeah, but no, this for me, there's no way I could go with the Cardinals um in that game. Definitely the Commanders for me. Another game that I think's pretty clear on who's gonna win, unless it's an absolute choke on their part. Jacksonville Colts. Who do you have, Jack?
So, as being a Titans fan, I freaking hate both these teams. But I feel like Jacksonville will take this game away. It's the same thing, just like the Panthers. Indianapolis with Anthony Richardson, he has to lead his team. They're learning a whole new playbook, and they like I don't know, but I feel like Jonathan Taylor. Is he ruled out? Do y'all know for the game?
He's out the first 4 weeks.
Yeah.
he's
So
rolling.
So I think that having their star running back gone and having a whole new rookie quarterback kind of learn the playbook, I feel like the Jaguars look like they're going to improve. So I'm going to Jaguars.
Joel, who do you got?
I was gonna say the same thing. I think just with the Colts, with Jonathan Taylor wanting out, I think that's gonna mess with the team morale and the chemistry. And I think, especially like he was saying, the new rookie quarterback, it's gonna affect everything. The whole team's gonna be in shambles. You know what I mean? I just think,
Yeah.
I think Jonathan Taylor has a lot to do with how this team plays this week.
Yeah, no, I think this team is going to be a mess this year. I know they're still trying to figure out the possibility of trading Taylor. We know he doesn't want to be there. I could see this team being like a 3-4 win team this year. I think it's going to be a rough year for them, which obviously sucks for them because a couple years ago they were actually looking like they were getting kind of decent, and then they just fell back. So it sucks for the Colts. So yeah, I would have to agree. There's almost no way the Colts win this game.
Unless they.
Yeah, unless they choke, unless the Jaguars choke really bad. Yeah. The next game is actually a game I'm really excited about. The 49ers versus Kenny Pickett and the Steelers. Who do you got, Jack?
So I got the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. The reason why, I've heard a lot of things about Kenny Pickett and I've seen the clips. Kenny Pickett has improved where he could be a top 10, maybe even top 7-5 quarterback this year. He looks really good, and you got George Pickens being a dominant wide receiver, and you also got that Pittsburgh defense, which is just full on dominant with Mika Fitzpatrick, their D line. So yes, the 49ers have Christian McCaffrey, but Brock Purdy is coming off of a shoulder injury, so we could see him struggle in this game a lot. And Deebo Samuel was not the best last year, so I wouldn't see this team being too dominant, so I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Okay, who do you got, Joe?
I'm gonna go with the 49ers just because they have Bosa, they have Fred Warner, they have how do you say his name? Hufugma or
Something like that.
yeah, he's. I just and then I think yes, Brock Purdy's coming off of a shoulder, but if they need to sit him, I mean Sam Darnold last year did pretty well, and in Carolina. So I mean, you know what I mean. He's not the worst. I think he's had enough time with the playbook in order to get good, especially with Trey Lance gone. I think he has a lot to prove.
Yes, no,
So
100%.
I got the 49ers.
This one was a rough pick for me, and I've been thinking about it for the last few days. But I'm actually taking the Steelers on this one. I think the Steelers are gonna be sneaky good this year. I think it's gonna be a much better year for Deontay Johnson. I mean, it can't really get worse. The guy didn't score a single touchdown last year. So I think he's gonna step it up. Obviously, Najee Harris is gonna have a good year. George Pickens will be good. I'm not, as Jack said, I'm not trying to say I'm not trying to say the Niners are going to be good, but first game back after the shoulder injury. I believe George Kittle is banged up this week as well. There's a lot of questions I have right now for just week one for the Steelers team. Sorry, for this Niners team. So I'm going to take the Steelers, but this game I feel like could go either way. So the next game is Jack's favorite game: Titans versus Saints. Jack, you can start.
Yeah, so this game is, to even being a Titans fan, this game is tough for me. The Titans do have a new wide receiver coming in as DeAndre Hopkins. Traylon Burks did get injured in practice, but looking like he full participated in practice and is looking good. We got Derrick Henry and the Ryan Tannehill, and underrated pick, but the Titans defense this year. I've been telling Jason about it, but the Titans defense this year is looking.
He just Jack. Jack, did you just close the call? You just cut
Sorry.
out. You just completely cut out.
Oh,
You said the
okay.
Titans defense, and then you cut out.
Okay. Can you hear me though now?
Yes.
Okay, so as I was saying, the Titans defense is going to be really underrated this year, in my opinion. So, and the Saints, they have not Alvin Kamara for the first 3 weeks, so I'm going to go with the Titans.
Joel, who do you got on this one? I know you. I know how
I'm gonna
you
go.
feel about the Saints taking a lot of your
I'm gonna
guys.
go with the Saints just because they took half of the Raiders roster last season. I think Derek Carr has a lot to prove. The Titans do have a really nice defense, but I think the Saints also do. I think that the Titans have to look out for Chris Olave, and I just think Derek Carr, from what I saw in the preseason, that team looks good. So I got the Saints.
This one, I'm not too sure on this one. I think it's gonna be another great year for a guy like Derrick Henry. I think Hopkins obviously is gonna be good for the Titans. Um, Saints, like you said, they have a lot to prove. Jamal Williams leaving Detroit, going there. You got to think he's now battling with Kamara for that number one RB spot there, especially with Kamara out the first couple of weeks of the season with that suspension. You got to think he really wants to step it up. Derek Carr needs to do good over there. Uh, you know, it's a hard one to call. But for me, it's very interesting because you got some new guys on new teams, and they all feel like they really have to prove something. But I'm gonna go with the Titans on this one, but I think it's gonna be a very close game. The next one, it's hard to have an opinion on this one because I think it's gonna be just a really mediocre game, and I'm sorry, Joel, it's the one I'm not really looking forward to. The Raiders and Broncos. Who do you have, Jack?
Okay, don't hate me, but I'm going to go with the Broncos for this one. It's an upset for me, and I feel like the Broncos are going to step it up with their new coach. That's what he's been saying. And the Raiders did lose their quarterback. They did. I mean, and the Denver defense has also looked really good with Justin Simmons and their D line. So I'm gonna go, and they also got some upgrades on the O line as Russell Wilson did struggle last year with getting sacked. So I'm gonna go with the Broncos.
Okay, Joel, I'm sure I have a feeling I know what you're gonna say, but who do you got?
I'm gonna go with the Raiders because I'm 100% biased. And no, I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I just feel like Jimmy Garoppolo has a lot to prove. We just drafted a new linebacker, which is pretty nice to come off the other edge with Max Crosby. The Broncos have not beaten us in 5 seasons, and we play twice every single year. We've beaten them every year, so I think the Raiders have a really good shot at beating the Broncos.
Okay, for me, after last year, it is physically impossible to put any faith into Russell Wilson. Um, I think he is just completely washed up now. He's not the player he was when he was with Seattle. Uh, well, even though obviously it's a new quarterback situation there, I do have faith in Jimmy Garoppolo to start the season. We'll see how long that lasts. The concern on him is later into the season on if he will stay healthy. But early on into the season, I do have faith in Jimmy G. So I'm gonna have to go the Raiders on this one. I don't think it's gonna be a crazy high scoring game. I don't think either team is gonna have an amazing season this year.
Yeah,
I
we're
do
not.
think the Raiders will be better than the Broncos, but yeah. The next one I think is going to be a steamroll. Eagles versus Patriots. Who do you got, Jack?
So this one pretty self-explanatory. Runner ups. I'm gonna go Super Bowl runner ups. I'm gonna go with the Eagles. Uh, New England, they failed on getting a couple players this offseason as they were chasing one as DeAndre Hopkins. And they did get Juju Smith Schuster, but I just don't think he can be good, even with quarterback Mac Jones having some problems last year with the injuries and you also got the Eagles. They got Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown. They did lose Miles Sanders, but I think they're still going to be a really good team with their defense. So I'm going with the Eagles.
Okay, Joel, who do you have on this one?
I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I agree. I just think Mac Jones just isn't ready for that kind of pressure, that kind of defense. And like he was saying, the Eagles have a lot of great offensive players like AJ Brown. They have Jalen. And then they got a really nice O line with Jordan Mailata, Jason Kelsey. They have just Lance
Yeah, just a very
Lance Thomas, I believe his name is. Yeah, I think that they're just gonna steamroll through this team.
yeah. I agree. Steamroll game of the week potentially. One thing you mentioned obviously was them losing Miles Sanders. Jack, obviously you got to keep in mind he was replaced with DeAndre Swift, which could actually be even better than Miles Sanders. Um, you got when you got guys like Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, Dallas Goddard matching up against those guys, of the Patriots with Mac Jones, Hunter Henry, just and any of those guys. Juju, I just don't see them matching up at all. I think, and keep in mind the defense as well. I think complete and total blowout. I could see the Eagles putting up like 40 in this game. I'm not gonna lie. Next game, Rams versus Seahawks. Who do you have, Jack?
So this game, just announced earlier today, Cooper Kupp is out for the first 4 weeks. So with them being planned to have him, or at least have him for at least not gone 4 weeks, it is going to change the momentum of the team. They did also lose Jalen Ramsey in the offseason. And you also got the Seahawks with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and their O line is also pretty good, but definitely not as good as last year as they lost some players off the O line. But they do have Geno Smith, which looked really good last season. So I'm gonna go with the Seahawks.
Okay, Joel, who do you have in this one?
I'm gonna go with the Seahawks too. I just think that the Chargers and Matt Stafford. I just think Stafford's too old. I don't think they have enough trust yet in Stenson Bennett to put
Oh,
Stenson
you
Bennett
would do
there.
Rams? You mean? I think you said.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, Rams. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't think that there's just. And then Cam Akers. I don't think Cam Akers is really gonna do too well this season. Honestly, I think the Rams might be one of the worst teams in the NFL this season. Especially Aaron Donald on defense. He's gonna be one of the just primary guys, and I just don't think they're gonna have a good season.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think the Rams will be good at all this year. And that was the first I heard of the first, Cooper Cup news out for the first 4 weeks. Did not know that until you said that, Jack. That
Yes.
just makes it even worse for them. Um, yeah, I think Geno's gonna have another good year. I mean, last year was the best he looked in his entire NFL career, and I could see him keeping that going. I actually have a weird feeling this is gonna be a really good year for Tyler Lockett, and I think Kenneth Walker is gonna continue to be a star in the league. So yeah, there's no way I could go the Rams on this. So Seahawks 100%. Uh, the next game, team that really pains me and Jack. We got the Dolphins versus Chargers. Who do you got, Jack?
So this game, I'm gonna go with the Chargers, simply because, dude. So I'm a TCU fan, as some of y'all know, but they got a lot of good players from the draft, like Quentin Johnson and a couple defensive players from TCU. They also got Justin Herbert that balled out like in the like late half of the last season. He was coming off that rib injury, but he looks pretty healthy now. They also have a really good defense and D line. Their O line isn't the best, but I could see Justin Herbert being able to get the ball out of that pretty quickly. You also got Miami does have Tyreek Hill, but is Jalen Ramsey? Do y'all know if Jalen Ramsey's out? Because I remember he did get hurt in practice.
I have not seen anything yet on Jalen Ramsey. I don't know about you, Joel, but I have not seen
Yeah,
anything.
no, me neither.
Well, he did come off so he did get injured in practice. Even if he's not out, I don't think seeing him being the best as he was about 2 years ago. So this one I'm going with the Chargers.
Okay, Joel, who do you got in this one?
I'm gonna go with the Chargers too. I think Justin Herbert is a great quarterback. He's got a great running back in Austin Eckler, two great receivers in Allen and Williams. Even that defense, you have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. I think that's just gonna be too much. I think Tua is gonna look really good this season. He looked pretty good earlier in practice with all the little clips that I saw, but I just think overall the Chargers are just gonna have a. I think this one's gonna be a win by a lot.
Yeah, I have the Chargers in this game. I just like everything about the Chargers a lot more than the Dolphins. I'm a big. I'll be honest. I'm a big Tua hater. I do not like Tua. I don't like his play style. I'm just not a fan of him. Obviously, yes, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle on that team. But I just overall, I think the Chargers scarier team. Herbert's gonna have a really good year. The one thing I will say, I think this game could be the high scoring game of the week. I really could see this game being like a 30s, like both teams in the 30s. I really think they both have great offenses. The Dolphins' defense isn't so good, so I think they will, you know, definitely give up a lot. I'm not really too familiar with the Chargers defense. I don't really watch too much of the Chargers. I'll occasionally see their games on Red Zone. I know the Dolphins have a weak defense. I'm not too, like I said, not too familiar with the Chargers. But yeah, definitely got to go Chargers on this one. And now we got the last day game for tomorrow. Packers versus the Bears. Who do you got, Jack?
So this game, I don't know if it's an upset. I haven't seen the line, but I'm gonna go with the Bears on this one. Green Bay is coming off of Christian Watson is ruled out against the Bears, and you also have a new quarterback with Jordan Love. And Jordan Love did look pretty good in the games that he filled in for Aaron Rodgers. But Chicago is getting a new wide receiver, DJ Moore. They also got new defensive upgrades. So I'm going to go with the Bears.
Okay. Joel, who do you have?
I'm gonna go with the Bears too. I think Justin Fields has a lot to prove this season. The same thing as Lamar. I think he has to prove that he's more of a quarterback than a running back. I think he's got better weapons like Cole Kmet. I think Cole Kmet's gonna have a decent season, and I mean their defense just overall I think is way better. So I'm gonna go with the Bears.
Yeah, I'll say it now. I'm going Bears on this one as well. I know a couple Packers fans, and they're scared this year. They have all told me they are very scared with Jordan Love. They don't think they're gonna be good this year. Maybe Jordan Love surprises people, but I think like you said, Justin Fields has a lot to prove. He's got the better guys around him, especially with Jack, saying that Christian Watson isn't playing. I mean, I just don't think, they're going to be that good. And, also Dobbs is questionable for the Packers. Um, so, yeah, overall, better guys around him. Is Chase Claypool still there, too? To
Yes, he
Chicago? He
is.
is. Yeah. I just overall I think they're a much better team, and I think it'll be close, but I don't see the Packers actually pulling this game out. All right. Sunday night football, Cowboys Giants, a game I'm really excited about. In my opinion, a really must win for the Giants. Haven't beaten the Cowboys in a while. They really need this. So, Jack, who do you got?
So I do see this as a must win for the Giants, like you said, Jason, but I'm still going to have to stick with Dallas. They didn't lose like too many players in the offseason. They also still have Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs with their elite defense. But I do have Dak Prescott struggling this year. But they now have they still have Tony Pollard, right?
Yes.
Who's like not starting. Yeah. So Tony Pollard looked way better than Zeke last year. That's why they traded him. So I have a big feeling. I mean, even the Giants look pretty good. I mean, they just got Saquon Barkley got a new contract. So did
Wait, was Zeke
uh
traded or wasn't? Was he free agency? I thought he was a free agent.
Yeah, Zeke's on the Patriots now.
I don't
yeah.
remember. I just wanted to clarify on that because I thought he was.
He
I
might have
thought.
been a free.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not trying to call you out for
Yeah.
being wrong. I just wasn't sure actually. Um,
So with the Giants, like Daniel Jones, I have him like having an actual like a pretty good year this year. But I still have the Cowboys pulling off this win. But yeah.
okay, Joel, who do you got?
I have the Cowboys in this one too. I just think this game we have to look out for Dak. I just think the interceptions. I think that Trey Lance is eventually going to come in, but
You're
I think that
taking over the
overall the
spot?
off.
Really?
I think he's gonna. I think fourth quarter Dak's gonna have a pretty bad game, but they're still gonna be up to where they're just gonna say, you know what, screw it, and I think they're gonna throw Trey Lance in. But I do think that their offense and defense is overall way better than the Giants.
So one thing that scares me for the Giants, and I don't know if you guys saw it, it happened yesterday. Darren Waller popped up on the injury report with a hamstring issue, I believe. Um, is questionable for the game. I think if the Giants want to beat Dallas, they really need Darren Waller to play. The one thing that makes me feel good, about this game is, after seeing it for years, we're finally done being tormented by Ezekiel Elliott. Dude was a nightmare for us for years. Even though the last year or two we didn't do as much, for some reason he always figured out a way to go off against the Giants. So I'm happy to see him gone. Uh, Look, I think the Giants know how important this game is. I think we're gonna see a really good year from Daniel Jones. I do think Dak Prescott's gonna struggle this year. I'm gonna take my Giants, but in a really close game. It could be like a typical Giants game within like a field goal. Um, Final game: Bills versus Jets. I think this game is going to be amazing, and I see a potential upset. I'm curious on your guys' opinion. Jack, what do you got?
So I have this game as being the game of the week. I mean, you got Buffalo. You know, we know they're gonna probably be a little bit good this year. You also got the Jets though having a whole almost a whole new roster with that offense. A couple new wide receivers, of course, Aaron Rodgers and Dalvin Cook. So they are really good, but the Bills do have almost the same roster, and I feel like they're gonna come out with the same energy. I feel like Josh Allen should improve coming off last year's playoff loss. So I have the Bills in this one by a touchdown.
Okay, Joel, who do you got?
I have the Jets in this one. I don't know if y'all know this. I don't like Josh Allen. I really
Really?
don't. It's not that he's not good. I just feel like he's expected to win like big games and
And
he
he,
just never does.
yeah.
I feel like he's constantly seen like, oh, like last year in the playoffs everybody thought, "Oh, this is going to be easy. Josh Allen's making it."
No,
And he
I
just
agree.
didn't.
And then
So
they collapse
and I
against, the
yeah,
one thing, and
and
I
I
will say, I agree with you on that. They had the advantage against the Bengals. They were even playing in an environment that they're usually good with the snow game, and they still completely collapsed. I mean, that's something in Buffalo they used to, and they just, were terrible in that game. So, look, for me, I think, as a disgruntled guy who left his team with Aaron Rodgers, coming to the Jets, it's going to be a breath of fresh air for him. He's got a lot to prove. I don't think Aaron Rodgers lets them go into Monday's game and lose. I think the
agree.
Jets win that game, but it will be a really close game. Uh, could be like a 31-28 game, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a really good game, but I do think the Jets pull out with it. But yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting week of NFL, guys. I am really excited about it. Definitely room for a lot of upsets. I'm excited. So that is our week 1 NFL predictions, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys are new here, drop a like. If you guys are new here, drop a sub. Like the video, leave a comment what you guys think and what your guys' predictions are. And yeah, if you guys like this, we will be doing this every single freaking week. But yeah, can't wait. Week 1, baby. Peace, guys.